Well, hello there. Good afternoon and welcome to The Pulse. We are coming to you live from our studios here in Accra. We are on digital terrestrial TV because we are free to air on DSTV channel 421. Go TV is channel 144. We are JoyNews, independent, fearless and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon on The Pulse, the Inspector General of Police is leading a fact-finding mission to Islamic Senior High School in the Ashanti region following clashes between students and the police service. Well, we'll get you updates, plus hear from parents who are expressing some level of displeasure over the latest development. It's all coming up here on The Pulse, and engagements are expected to begin in the United Kingdom today on Ghana's bill on proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values, which is targeted at prescribing advocacy for LGBTQ. We'll hear from some Ghanaian lawmakers on their expectations ahead of the negotiations with the UK Parliament. We'll bring you reaction shortly. And as Ghana joins the rest of the world to mark the International Albinism Day, we'll hear from the Ghana Association of Persons with Albinism as they call on government to include persons with albinism and concerns with relation to healthcare products like some sunscreens to the National Health Insurance Scheme. It's all coming up here on The Pulse. And blessed Sogah. The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities Digni Lu Affordable Safe Sanitation. This afternoon, remember that we're streaming live on all of our social media handles. It's at JoyNews on TV, also on YouTube. Join us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is at blessed Sogah. Thanks for joining us here on The Pulse. Please stay for details. Well, we start off from the Ashanti region. The Ghana Police Service says it has commenced investigations into circumstances leading to clashes between protesting students of Islamic SHS in the Kumasi area and personnel of the Ghana Police Service. Now, at least 20 students, as we understand, are currently on admission, receiving some treatment from medical experts. And in a statement issued by the Ghana Police Service as well a couple of hours ago on the matter, the police service has revealed that some of its personnel have also been hospitalized after today's clashes. Would obviously bring you excerpts of that statement as you have it on the screens right now, indicating that on Monday, June 13, some students of the Islamic Senior High School at Breport, Kumasi in the Ashanti region took to the streets and blocked the road to allegedly protest against frequent accidents in front of their school. Now, the police managed actually to disperse the rioting students, and calm, as we understand, has since been restored. Now, some students and some police officers have actually been taken to the hospital for medical attention. And the Inspector General of Police, as we understand, is proceeding to Kumasi for a first-hand assessment of the situation. The police, as we understand, have commenced investigations into the incident, and further developments will definitely be communicated. So these are excerpts of the statement that we're getting from the Ghana Police Service on this matter. In fact, just earlier, you saw the gunshots that actually were flying on campus. But for those of you who missed it, here are excerpts of the police attempting to disperse the crowd. We'll hear from some experts shortly, but please watch this video. How it all started, but let's hear now from Dr. Adam Bona, a security expert who's also been tracking this development. Very shortly, we'll be taking you live to the Ashanti region where the Inspector General of Police, as we understand, has touched down there with some other members of government as well, monitoring the matter. The Education Ministry, as we understand, has also deployed a team there. We'll get you all the latest reactions. But first, let me bring you in, Dr. Bona, on the latest that we're seeing. In fact, Nkranza was very recently in the news for a similar situation. Now we're having to deal with students, and it appears that the police is not learning lessons. Am I getting anything wrong here?
Good afternoon, Blessed, and your viewers. It might look like that. It might look like some divisional commanders and district commanders and what have you are not learning lessons at all. If you look at these children in Islamic secondary schools, some of them probably 14, 15, or probably even 13. And I'm seeing images of, spent shells from, what do you call that, live ammo, ammunition. It tells you that their own SOPs, the standard operating procedures or protocols, probably were not followed. Because even for adults, you don't fire live bullets, and some of us have been speaking about it. So it is despicable. Anyone who commandeered the armed police officers, knowing very well that this is just children, you commandeer a team of, call them fathers and mothers, to go and shoot at your children. I mean, these are fathers and mothers within the Ghana Police Service, armed with live ammunition, who went into the area because students are demonstrating. Even if they did not inform the police that they were going to demonstrate, the least the police could do was to calmly shepherd them back into their campus. But to find live ammo, tear gas canisters into the young people. I mean, if you've ever inhaled tear gas, back those days when some of us were student leaders, inhaling tear gas was, an everyday affair where you will demonstrate, and Kofi Boakye and his people, COP Kofi Boakye today and his people will fire tear gas at you. And even that we were much older, I mean, even that your lungs will not be able to accommodate the pain, excruciating pain that you go through. So, talk about these kids.
So first of all, you're not surprised. You're not surprised that at least 20 students, as we understand, have been hospitalized as a result of the clashes with the police.
No, I'm not surprised, because I have experienced tear gas not once, not twice, severally. And, because then it used to be, back those days, Rollins are just taken, you have to demonstrate, and as students, even at the tertiary level, when you are much older, they throw tear gas at you. It was an everyday affair. And even that one, the pain you go through when you inhale. And so to throw tear gas at these kids, I mean, call them our children, and fire a live bullet into some of them, and some of them getting hospitalized, it's despicable, to say the least.
And that brings to the fore the issue about the standard operating procedures. It's come up very often, except that we're not too sure what the SOP says about the discharge of live bullets. Are you able to give us a sense of what the procedure is?
Well, the procedure is we only discharge live ammo when lethal ammo when your life comes under threat, when probably they are firing back at you, you've been cornered and they want to butcher you, something like that. Then the right to defend yourself using appropriate measure to defend yourself is standard. But where these are called defenseless kids, who, even if they were pelting stones, how far can these kids throw stones? How far can it go? These are probably some kids who have not really even been fed properly in the school, and so they don't even have the energy to throw any proper stone. And you go in there as fathers and mothers in the Ghana Police Service, then you fire at them. I mean, I understand. I understand the IGP is in the region, and knowing who he is as a no-nonsense IGP, he will descend heavily on those who took this dastardly action and make sure that the right things are done.
In fact, we'll be taking you live shortly to Kumasi, where we understand that the IGP is engaging some persons on campus and also around town. We'll take that shortly, but then there's the issue also about being fair to the Ghana Police Service, particularly when they are revealing their statement now that some of their men have been injured and are also receiving treatment in the hospital. So it appears that some form of extreme force was supposed to have been taken, per what you're telling us in terms of the SOPs, the standard operating procedures.
Well, we need to know if indeed some of their men are injured. Let's know, where are they? Which hospital are they? I would be interested to know. But I think that this is completely wrong. Somebody must be punished. I just think that whoever commandeered, it looks like they were not well prepared. And as you know, a unit within the Ashanti region, I believe that your state of preparedness should be 24/7. You don't say, I need to pick intel, that there's going to be demonstration before you prepare. Your level of preparedness, would show when these things happen. We saw what happened in what's the name? Medina. This is not so different from Medina. The Medina incident, it was spontaneous, where a young girl had been hit. A young girl who was a student at West African Senior High School, right, had been knocked down. She lost her life. And the people there was spontaneous. It was an insurrection. They started burning ties, blocked the road. The police went in there. I mean, I don't remember if there were injuries.
Okay, now the IGP has the opportunity of a first-hand information on this. What's your expectation from him, briefly?
Well, my expectations from him is to be very firm and decisive on his own men, because then I think that this was completely wrong. These are defenseless kids who had a reason to demonstrate. So to fire live ammo into them, lethal ammo into them, and disperse them, throwing tear gas canisters when they could have shepherded them into their space. You saw what happened in Wa recently. The Upper West Regional Commander, even when the Regional Police Command came under attack, he was able to stand his ground and ensure that there were no injuries. Nobody went to the hospital. People were arrested and later sent to court, and they were granted court bail. But there were no injuries. And these are adults who are demonstrating in Wa. Can you compare what happened in Wa, attack on the Regional Police Command, and then a demonstration by young kids, children, in front of their school? I lived in Kumasi, around the Abreport area, so I know the place very well. I mean, and they get this type of injuries and some of them hospitalized. Tells you that someone acted wrongly, someone gave the instructions, wrongly. The SOPs were not followed, if you ask me. And so I think that now that the IGP is good, let me congratulate him. It's good that he's almost within some hours, he's already landed in Kumasi and is dealing with the issue. Means that I'm expecting him to be very firm and decisive on his men. Because for me, yes, the children, let's demonstrate responsibly. But when you look at it, and also probably the headmaster, I think the headmaster should be dealt with by GES, because what was his actions when some teachers were knocked down, all right, some school kids were knocked down. I think everybody would have to take responsibility. The police, vis-a-vis, the administrators of the school. But as for the children, you cannot blame them. Okay. You can't blame them, no.
Dr. Bona, I'm grateful. Thank you for joining us. Well, the situation as we speak has left the atmosphere tense on the school campus, with some parents also thronging the campus to check on their wards. My colleague, Ohimi Interior, has been speaking to some of them, and here's what we found out.
Police for Bibia. Yeah, to Crow him say, yeah, demonstration. You think I catch a police for some police for Mankrata and send my bed demonstration. Where the man be beyond 50 and be on Colanum. And Colano me more. Nebi be same of me maba kwonta mo me moya miensa o mo nyina wo asthma tear gas na matono o mo mama ko le se me baka wana se me manka ho a nebi be sia Rade, school for no, on Benom, police for Nina, Madame Assay. I know. Police for her and Cranwa inside, but on one quiet room. One Sharifa and one Hamza. It's me, man, I'm a mesha warmo. No cranny, me buy and me quite room. Me quite cran, a pima as an unconscious, no, the form of a pray. And I miss you, Papa. And ambulance, they pick up near Sawarmo and your moko. It's in a Michinia, and me who mutu and a car one. And my mimmy, dear, Makuma Tom Yamka, but me about time. Me won't go from one day. Bra Ukraine, who are about time to run off from our rubber hope. Yan, my time, fine. Mima, who me dear, Makuma Tommy Yam. And see, Omo Mujina, my tiny swa, Omu, dear no, and your casa, Ajia, sister, Wabano, who shall who Bana, a beer, Yankosha Hospital, so Kahua, na parent, Nakuma Tony Yam. Timawana, Mobisa Frame, my sister Frame, TV, so I'm semi wodom. No, say na me come homeless continue na ba mo so mo my nwuram. Me ba no so royalty ya de na ni kura sa ha no. Enti me gina ha sa mo ana number bi frɛ me. Say me ba ne Suleiman Mariam Suleiman. Nam say ai me ba no no say ne. O inside we pira nam say be ya me hu say me ba no line no dey frɛ me. Ya WhatsApp line. No say ne obese ne ma o say ne me ba ne pepe me ba ne kasa say the two aboni tirim nti wantimi nya no hwe wo inside ho omo the two na boni tirim omo the two aba na kasa boni tirim to wo inside ho omo ma me so nwura wo na me kofa me ba mo se da be o ma me nwura ho no me pa to nipa bebre wo di nipa na o de sen wo se nipa bebre wo no me ba ni video wa wo pa me yi video ni nyina akira me ba ne kasa kira se akura ne kasa nyina wo su akura ne kasa nyina wo su akura ne video wo fu no me nya ntro mo bua akura ne bi da wo no anya serious mo fa mo ko di to ba akura tirim adai mo ma me nwura school mo ko fa me ba.
We took it lightly until we saw it on social media. It wasn't easy. Some of them were lying on the floor. Some of them were lying on the floor, and some have been taken to hospital. And we rushed here. We wanted to see them, and they said no, they wouldn't let us see them. Why? Because they have no reason. And some of them are injured. Once they are inside, they have not been taken to hospital. And what they told us that they are in safe hands. Meanwhile, they also said that the news that we heard and what we saw in the media is not true. Meanwhile, we saw it in the media. And we have issue with the police because of their crowd control. They want us to trust the police being protected. They want us to trust the police that they are protecting the students. Meanwhile, the same police that shoot them is the same police that is protecting them. How can we trust? How can we trust them? Yes, I saw some of them lying on the floor, being taken to hospital. Some of them being taken to hospital. At least I saw 3 ambulances paraded, being taken students to hospital. Being taken to this is enough evidence that our brothers and sisters here are injured. Yes, this is enough evidence. So we are here. We want to see them. Simple. They should release this. They would let us see them.
Well, the situation there earlier on campus. Let's speak now to the spokesperson for the Ministry of Education, deputy spokesperson, I should say, Opoku Mensah. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Now, we understand that the ministry has deployed a team there as well to assess the situation on campus. What are your findings so far, initial ones, at least as we await an official report to the minister on this?
Okay, thanks for having me. We're on the ground. I came in the morning to ascertain the happenings on campus. And I can tell you on authority that there is no injured student on campus. Nobody was shot at, as the claims per the report that the parents were making. That is not true. I don't know where they are getting that information
But the
from.
Ghana Police Service has issued a statement indicating that some students have been hospitalized. We're not sure if indeed they were shot, but we can confirm that they've been hospitalized.
We visited all the health facilities where the students are. And that is why I can tell your authority that nobody has any injury whatsoever as a result of gunshot. And We have a couple of students in the hospitals as well. And before we came back to the school, authorities within that facilities were preparing to release them back to campus. So if parents are listening to me, nobody was shot at. There's nothing like an injured student to those who have been admitted into the various hospitals.
Beyond the shooting, I'm sure that you've been interacting with the management of the school. What's their position on what transpired?
No, what we in the morning, what we sought to do was to calm tempers down when parents were trooping into the school. So with the help of the regional director, the heads of some of the institutional, Opokuari school headmaster, Okes school headmaster were there to help out. So we spoke to the parents to calm them down. Then we proceeded to visit the health facilities where these students have been admitted. And then we've done that. So we come back to the school. And as you rightly reported, the IGP just left the campus to the various hospitals to also visit them. And the staff from the Ministry of Education, headed by the Deputy Minister himself, is also following suit together with the regional minister. So per the assessment on campus now, we have a conducive environment now, and the media can attest to it. As we visited the hospital, we even met some of the parents at the hospital. They were reporting that the report was that their wards have been shot dead. And behold, we went to these facilities and we interacted with all the students who have been admitted.
Right. And I guess this is as well. Yeah, I get the concern. You've made that point very clear that no one has been shot dead, but we know that some of them are in the hospitals. Beyond that, the concern about teaching and learning on campus, what's the directive of the GES and by extension the ministry on what should happen in the coming days? Obviously, the students are terrified by what has happened. I'm sure that you're concerned as well about that. Yes. In the morning, before we left campus to visit those who were hospitalized, teaching and learning was going on before we left. Before I left with the regional director of education, plus the heads, as I mentioned to you earlier. So we left them in the hands of the teachers, and teaching and learning was ongoing as we expected. And when we came back, I think they are on break now. I'm in the school currently. So we expect that normalcy as it has been restored. We are engaging the students to psych them up, to encourage them to have that confidence and not to harbor any fear in them. So the minister would definitely speak with the student. The regional director in the morning also spoke to the students. She will be doing same today, plus the heads, a couple of officials who are on campus. And I'm told that the IGP also will speak with the students to calm them down. So on campus, everything is normal. My question is about my question is also about what happens next. You're talking to the students now, but in terms of academic activities, are you expecting that in the next 24 hours you're resuming academic activities?
Yes, definitely. In the morning when we left, even in the middle of the incident, when we came in there to address parents, teaching and learning was ongoing, and nothing has stopped. The administrative staff are in the office working, teachers are in the classroom also teaching, and students are in the class learning as well. So we expect teaching and learning to proceed as expected. But again, we can't also be oblivious of the fact that we need to speak to them. Probably some of them may be traumatized by what happened. And that is as a result of what resulted in so many of them being hospitalized today.
I'm interested in finding out, is this where you bring closure to such a sensitive matter, particularly when it involves the threat to the life of at least 20 students? Are you likely to take some disciplinary actions, if not against the students? There are some teachers, or perhaps the head teacher who is also, and some scrutiny here, isn't it?
It's early days yet. What we needed first to do is to ensure that those who have been hospitalized come back to normalcy and they come back to school to continue the academic work. And so when we are done with all this, we are satisfied with the situation, that is where we can zoom in to look at other issues pertaining to what you are mentioning now. That's for now. What is important to ensure that we have stable conditions of our students, bring them back to campus, then we can look at the other issues and probably bring it closer to it, and whatever can be done to salvage the situation, we do it.
But we know, obviously, that the parents are also out there. Some of them are even asking that you release their students. I mean, their wards, so at least we can have them back with their parents for them to ensure that indeed there's safety on campus. How are you handling such a case, particularly as some parents are anxious, waiting just right behind or in front of the school, I should say, waiting that at least they'll be able to
there is nobody
wards.
in front of the school. There is nobody in front of the school. Some of the students, when we came back from the hospital, were already in the school to ascertain or get to see their wards, and rightly, they were satisfied with the situation. It's got to do with the report that came out from the media, especially in relation to people being shot at, people dead, as the speculation went. But when we spoke to them in the morning, they remained calm, and we only got a briefing, or we got to hear that they've trooped into the school to verify whether if their children were victims to the situation. And as we entered back, there is absolute peace, there is absolute calm on campus, and there is nobody in front of the school wanting to enter to take his or her child away. That is not the situation on campus as we speak. Everything has been brought under control. The police are still here at the entrance, ensuring that the order is maintained. And as I indicated to you, the IGP and the other police officials have gone to visit the students at the various hospitals. But let me again repeat that nobody was shot at. There is nothing like a casualty of a gunshot wound among the students that were hospitalized. And that is what the situation currently is.
Came indicating that what they saw on the grounds at least differs from the account you're giving us now.
I am on the ground. I was here in the morning, and I'm here in the afternoon as well. And I wasn't even alone with the regional director of education and some of the heads that I mentioned, and staff of the school that we visited at various health facilities. We are back on campus as we speak. And I'm giving you a clearer picture on how campus look like and where the students are and what is actually happening on campus. And whilst we are talking, I'm in the heads of it. And the head just left with the IGP to visit some of the students in the hospital. So calm has been restored here. There is absolute peace, conducive atmosphere for teaching and learning. And that is what we expect. And as I indicated it to you in the morning, we spoke with the parents, told them what we were doing, following up with the matter as a parent we do. And we came back with a positive news as a result of the earlier speculation about injured students or being shot at, etc. And that is not the case as it's been speculated.
Just hold on for us. Obviously, there's a need for us to hear from the emergency service workers who were on the grounds earlier, telling us their account of what transpired. Listen.
So at now they are receiving treatment at the various hospitals. Okay. Yes. So now there is we don't have anybody on the ground. We've moved all of them to the hospitals. So all of them are receiving treatment, about 25 of them. But we learned that others were also moved by the school bus, but we don't have that data with us. We don't have that statistics with us. But we're talking about what National Ambulance Service being able to attend to. Yes. What were wrong with these students, the victims that you sent via your? So we met them in the respiratory distress. That is, they had difficulty in breathing. So as a result of some were triggered, they had conditions like asthma and other things. So it was triggered as a result of the atmosphere, the tear gas that was thrown around. So it triggered them, and others also as a result of exhaustion. They just went off, and then they went having difficulty in breathing. And we have to help them, give them oxygen, and then move them to the hospitals. Were there gunshot wounds that you treated? No, we've not treated any traumatic injuries like gunshot wounds. No, we've not met any of such situation. All that we treated were just difficulty in breathing and people who were exhausted and had difficulty in breathing. We didn't have any bloody situation in our hands.
How difficult was it for you and your personnel in attending to these patients?
Yes, so normally the crowd control, no, the public always want to help. But at the end of the day, the way they were lifting the people who were unconscious, because somebody who is trying to breathe, the best thing is for you to put the person in recovery position and allow the person to be there. Since the person can breathe, okay, you try to put the person in recovery position, but some of them were kept on their spine, and they were lifted here and there, and they were moving them anyhow, and that was the difficulty. So we think that normally they should always allow the professionals to, especially when we are at the scene, they should be assured that we'll do a good job for the.
Well, Opoku, so that's the account of the emergency services workers. It meets your side of the story, what it is that you were telling us earlier.
He has collaborated with the aspect of no gunshot wounds. And again, I haven't had any briefing on the tear gas aspect.
Right. And
I can't independently verify whether if there were tear gases which were shot in here. But what I can independently verify was the asthmatic aspect.
Right.
And people from the medical outfit, and some of them were brought in as a result of the shock.
Yeah, but
is
it just about the shock? What exactly were you told about the state of the students? What's happening to them?
All of them. Yeah, all of them are stable. All of them are doing well. And as I indicated, as we visited the learners of the students.
What were you told by the medical experts?
Well, what we were told is what I'm telling you, that as a result of the shock, others do have certain conditions. That is the asthma that's referred to. So as a result of the atmosphere on campus, that is what made them unconscious, and all of them are back to stable and back to normal, as indicated by the
all 25, sir. All 25.
Yes, all of them, and that is how the situation.
But look at the image, for instance, on the screens right now. Someone there suffering in terms of respiration. That could possibly be linked to issues of tear gas, right?
I don't have any evidence to that. I don't have any briefing to that, and I can't speak to it whether if there were tear gas which were shot. I've been on campus. I haven't picked any signal on evidence to that, and I can't actually speak to it whether if they shot tear gas in trying to restore calm on campus. I can't speak to that, sir.
All right then. Opoku definitely will be in touch. Get back to you later in the day to find out what it is that the Education Ministry has picked up on that. Let's go to our man on the ground now, Him Interior, who's been following this for us throughout the day. He's actually moving with the IGP's team. We understand that the IGP is headed, visiting some hospital facilities where all these students are being kept. Or Him, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, thank you, my brother. We are currently at the Confanochi Teaching Hospital, the Accident and Emergency Center, where we learned that one of the victims has been referred from the Central Government Hospital. And unfortunately, we don't know the identity of this victim, whether a teacher, a student, or a police officer, because we also learned from the police statement that some police officers were in the process. But before the Confanochi Teaching Hospital, the IGP was at the Central Government Hospital, where we learned that 22 of the students were sent by the National Ambulance Service, and all the 20.
It appears we've lost our Him Interior there, but definitely we'll keep our eyes on the story and bring you some updates as and when we have it. You're still with us here on The Pulse. We'll return shortly after this break. Please stay. Time now to do some politics. The Convention People's Party over the weekend marked its 73rd anniversary. The political party says it is out this time round to break the duopoly. Well, they've outlined a number of strategies which the party believes will unseat the New Patriotic Party administration and also prevent the NDC from taking their turn, as it has been the case in the Fourth Republican dispensation. Joining me now via Zoom is Nana Akosua, former chairperson of the Convention People's Party. Thank you for your time. So, congratulations, first of all, on chalking that feat as one of the oldest political traditions in the country. But how is it possible, looking at the trajectory that we've seen so far in the Fourth Democratic dispensation, that you'd so easily unseat the NPP and also prevent the NDC from winning the next elections?
First of all, let me take the opportunity it was most importantly to the students and the parents who are going through this whole trauma. And as we are all pleading, we hope that the police will be more careful. These are young people. We've all gone through this when we're young. And next time, they should find a way of working with them. I'm sure no young person is out there to cause major harm. I saw young girls, so that I'm sure they just want some few things and they are right side. And the tear gas, yes, but sometimes it might be too violent. And some of them actually really reacted. It's not only gunshots, it's even tear gas to an asthmatic patient or something, and even the commotion in running, people can get hurt, they can run over others and things. So I believe that we all need to do more than we are doing now. The question that you asked, the answer is in the fact that today I'm sitting here with you, somewhere outside where you are, and we can talk. We are using technology. And technology, when properly used, creates magic. And that's exactly what we intend to do. The youth of this country today are exhausted. They are tired. They are asking for a change. This is about, it looks like we are about the same position that Osajifo was or were 73 years ago, when the youth of Ghana were looking for independence now. And others were saying, let's do it, but it should be gradual. And then when Osajifo then set up CPP based on the independence now call, that's exactly what happened. So we stood in the same grounds. We stood at Arena where Osajifo stood when he formed the CPP and asked the youth of the country to use their energy to be able to do what was necessary. We are only saying this. We are CPP. We are the Convention People's Party. It is us that brought the political independence based on the energy of our fathers who were the youth at that time. We are asking the youth to do exactly what they're asking for. But they all want a change. And we can't do it doing the conventional method. So we need to do it their way. And their way is using the technology that's available. And that is why we are so confident that any youth hearing my voice, whether the person is paralyzed, bad, can read, can do anything, as long as they stay online, they just go to *920*277#. That's all they do, and they become CBP members.
Oh, so what you're doing as well is gaining more following by the use of technology. How many persons are you seeking to roll on as members of the CPP?
The CPP, as we have said, with this particular leadership, we came in with a clear understanding of what CPP's problem is. We have the best ideology, we have the best vision. However, it is because we don't have the base, the grassroots. We have given our grassroots to the NDC when we merge with them. So all we are seeking to do is to fill that position. The position at the grassroots gives us 800,000 young people as executives. And that's what we are asking the youth to take. They are taking over as chairman, vice chair, executives, youth organizers, women's organizers, treasurers, all those kind of positions, up to 17 of them at each polling station. Almost 40,000, 17 of them at each electoral area, almost 6,200. When you add all, we are talking about 800,000 executive youth that we are asking.
What would you say to someone what would you say to someone who walks up to you? What would you say to someone who walks up to you to say, well, the CPP is not as attractive as the two main political parties that we've dealt with in the Fourth Republic?
I agree with the person. I'm just telling the youth today, life is a continuum, and there's nothing static in this world. There was a time that I'm telling you, there was not even CPP. We had UGCC and all those people. But at that time, and we had the governors here, we have our colonial invaders. But when the energy of the youth was ready, when the youth made a decision, when they decided that they wanted to take their destiny into their own hands, I am not the entire Ghana. The Ghanaian youth, including yourself, know that the country is not working. We know that the corruption, we know that they don't have access to accommodation, no jobs, nothing. They cannot continue to sit there and complain. We are giving them a chance to take over and be able to put their own destiny and do what is right. You don't need to have anything attractive. You become attractive when you take responsibility. You become attractive when you take over. Osadifo told us that the African is capable, and I believe that the Ghanaian is also capable.
Yeah,
today,
and you need to demonstrate that. For some, the point is, right.
To send economic invaders away.
Well, another point is, some argue that you lost the opportunity when we started having splinter groups within the CPP itself. As we speak, you have almost close to 5 of your offshoots out there as fully fledged political parties. How about going back to the negotiation table, talking over the possibility of a merger going into the 2024 elections?
Unity any day is the best. Unity with a common purpose, a vision in a particular direction is always better. What we are saying is that it is not for us, even if we all come together today. We don't have the grassroots. None of us do. It is the people voting at polling stations that makes the difference. It is the people voting at polling stations that ensure that there's no zeros. It is the people in my village who want to come and work, who paid 100 Ghana each to get admission as police officers, ambulance services and things that were not accepted. They paid 500 Ghana and were not accepted. It is those people that we are talking about. It is a young person who works for me who doesn't have access to be able to get accommodation, must pay 2, 3, 4 years. They are not any less than the Ghanaian, the American or the British. We are saying that we are capable. If this is the Ghana, then there was no need. So we are asking the same youth who are saying they want a change. It is the youth that are saying that they want a change. They are saying they are tired. We don't need to come together at the top before. They are the majority. They need to take power and take over and be able to ensure the country works for themselves and for their children.
And I mean, so what's that firm assurance that the CPP will change the fortunes of the country? I mean, it's fair to say at this point that we can't compare the CPP of today to the CPP of the past, you agree? This is not the same Nkrumah CPP as we're experiencing it now.
It is the same Nkrumah CPP. Nkrumah is in you, and Nkrumah is in... Nkrumah is dead, for goodness sake. Nkrumah, there's a sacrificial spirit is what we are talking about. The vision is what we are talking about. The ideals, the selfless dedication, putting your country first, understanding that when you have a responsibility as a minister, as a parliamentarian, you need to stand for the people. Look at the motorway that CPP did. It's still there. It is not the cement. It is the people without thinking. We are saying that the Ghanaian who is complaining every day about corruption, the Ghanaian who is complaining every day about inability to have access to factories. We created 400 factories in 3 years. When people talk, it makes me funny. It is not Osadifo who did it all. It is our fathers and other people. And it is the same youth of Ghana today. I believe in the Ghanaian youth. I believe the Ghanaian youth has what it takes, as it took then, to take today. They need opportunity. CPP has offered to them 800,000 youth. Star 920277 hash. Come and take over and run your country. Take it from the invaders of today. Take it from the corrupt system. MPP, NDC has done it. It has failed us. If they could have done it, they would have done it. They can't. The vision is there. The ideal is there. You know what is right. You can't do it from talking. You do it from the political system. And CPP is giving you the opportunity. I'm sorry. There's no other way to do it. And nobody should sit here and tell the young people that we are not organized. How do you get organized? You organize yourself into groups, organize yourself and use your term to take over power. It is only in political party that can run governance. It is only the political party that decides who become a minister, a head of an institution, and all that. And it's winner takes it all. If you don't join CPP, it's going to be MPP, NDC, MPP, NDC, and they're going to remain and be worse off than we are today.
All right, then.
Let them come, be part of CPP. We have a 7-year development plan. We have ideals, and there was a time in this country that farmers did not sell their goods. Farmers just had to plant. School fees were, when Nanado came and decided to use some portion of CPP's ideals, including free SHS, everybody is happy. When, what is his name? Kofo used some portion of the free SHS insurance. So it is the things that we have. We are committed to the Ghanaian. Because you see, when you tell somebody who is overseeing you or who has invaded you, and you tell the person to leave because you can manage yourself and you mismanage yourself, it is about time you go back to the drawing table and do what is right. And we have the drawing table. I mean, we have the blueprints.
I see.
So, and for me, I believe that everything is within the Ghanaian to do it. And the Ghanaian youth has it. The Ghanaian youth. We are not asking people from outside to invade Ghana. We are asking the Ghanaian intellectual, Ghanaian carpenter, the Ghanaian mason, the Ghanaian teacher, the Ghanaian doctor, the Ghanaian nurse who is complaining. We are asking her to take over by putting her thumb and becoming the one in the seat making the decision, as we did before, and we send the invaders away. This is something that has been done, and it must be repeated. And that's all we are asking. Star 920 star 277 hash.
And that's Nana for you, definitely speaking with a lot of passion on this. But Nana, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on The Pulse. We stay on politics because a total of some 50 persons are expected to officially file for nominations to actually contest in the New Patriotic Party's impending national elections. Forms were actually picked for and on behalf of various aspirants gunning for positions when the party officially gave the opportunity to aspirants to officially express their interest. In all, we understand that 7 people picked nomination forms to run as for the chairperson position, 10 picked for the national vice position, and we understand that 6 are running for general secretary. Well, today the aspirants are taking a step further, officially filing for nominations. So let's see how that process is going so far. Evans Nemako is Director of Elections for the New Patriotic Party, joins us now. It's not been an easy day for you, but I'm grateful that you're spending some time with us. What's your impression of day 1 of this exercise?
Thank you, brother, and good afternoon. My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Today, as planned by the Elections Committee, we are hoping to receive nominations as picked by the 52 prospective candidates between today and Wednesday.
Evans, if you can hear me, you were making a point about... yes, you were making a point about some 52% who had picked for.
Their nomination for.
Right.
Yes, please. Some 52 persons at the close of nomination day have picked nomination forms. Looking at them submitting back to the Elections Committee for interrogation before we begin vetting. No, as I said, the 52, 7 people picked for national coordinator position. Youth were 5, and the women organizer position, 4 people picked. In the case of the national organizer, 7 people picked nomination forms, 4 also picked for the national treasurer position. Our vice chairmanship position, 11 of them picked up nomination forms, 6 picked for general secretary, and a total of 8 party stalwarts picked nomination forms to contest for the national chairmanship position. So, we've had 52 gallant party members who have shown their preparedness and readiness to serve the party at this level.
Right. I'm not too sure about the... Yeah, well, go ahead.
Yes, we are urging them that as they begin to prospect, consult with the delegates for the conference, they should be mindful of their conduct. Keep in mind that the party is looking up to them to energize the base, up the morale of the party, and also to have in mind that at the end of this whole exercise, the party is going to put itself in the shape to win election 2024. So things that will not enhance the party's chances of winning again election 2024 must be measured by those prospective candidates who are prospecting as we speak. I'm saying they are prospective because we are yet to go through the vetting process, and the vetting process will determine their faith in the whole process, whether they will be qualified or otherwise. And it is dependent on they fulfilling the requirement as stipulated in the rules of engagement, constitutional provisions of the party, as well as the Political Parties Act.
But then let's talk about the figures itself. 52, as you're indicating to us now. What comparisons do you have in terms of the last internal elections?
Well, I mean, if you look at what happened in Koforidua 4 years ago, we had 47 people contesting these positions. We are yet to know whether all the 52 will be successful through the process. So, as I've always told you, we just have to be patient and pray for the party to go through this process. It's going to be very transparent. And for those who have today submitted, we've told them that the Elections Committee is going to have a session with them to discuss the whole process. They will be given access to the voter register after they've been successful in the process. And everything will be laid there, very transparent to all stakeholders. We've had discussion with the Electoral Commission, and so depending on the number of voting centers that will be set up, candidates will be given accreditation for their agents. The selection of agents will be discussed between the Elections Committee and the candidates. We hope that we all comply with the rules and regulations as well as other directions and technical advice that will come from the Electoral Commission. With regards to issues of security, we've had extensive discussion with the Ghana Police Service, and as they provided services when we started our polling station elections, we will continue to engage and make sure that our conference will be conducted in a manner that reflects all shades of discussion.
Right. You were talking about the figures earlier, hoping that all 52 will make it through the vetting stage. What opening do you have for all these persons who are returning and filing for nominations? How many days do they have for the vetting process to kickstart?
Well, they were told, I mean, when nomination was open on the 8th, we closed yesterday, we had a very long period of opening and closing nomination from 8 to 12. And they knew that between today and Wednesday, they have to submit back the forms to the Elections Committee. Elections Committee will begin vetting Friday with the wings, which are the Nasara youth and women. Then on Saturday, the committee will engage the National Treasurer and the organizer, prospective candidates. Then on Sunday will be the turn of the National Vice Chairmanship position. And then Monday, which is the last day of the vetting, 20th, we'll have sessions with the General Secretary aspirant as well as the National Chairman candidate. So that is the plan put in place so far.
What's interesting is that with this process, and I'm talking about the national executive elections, by the time it's ending, the New Patriotic Party will be in a position to determine whether it has a united front or otherwise going into the 2024 elections. There are likely some candidates, who may go out, vent their anger and raise their concerns about the process itself and the integrity nature of it. What measures are you putting in place to ensure that all of these concerns are addressed before the general elections itself?
Well, the Elections Committee, if you look at the caliber of people who are members in this committee, I think you'll be happy to accept their judgment. You have McMahon as the chair of the committee. You have Ambassador Edward Boateng as a member. You have Dr. Engineer Kwesi BSc as a member. You have Mrs. Awuti as a member. You have Alhaji Bismi as a member. We have lawyer Immanuel Dakwa as a member. We have lawyer Gary Nimakomafo. We have Honorable Obushi Saikofi as a member, and myself as secretary to the committee. And so if you look at the nature of the committee that has been put together by the National Council, you have difficulty not to accept the outcome of any engagement. Beyond that, the party has also put together the Dambuchi Committee, which serves as an appeals committee, and they'll be responsible to hear any appeal from any of the prospective candidates who may feel aggrieved after the vetting process. And so there's another opportunity for whoever will be one or the other feel aggrieved to submit themselves for other level of engagement. The party hopes that as long as we open up in this whole process, it becomes very transparent and proper engagements are done, communicated accordingly, people will be ready to accept the outcome. At the end of the day, these men and women are putting up themselves to work for the party at this level to ensure that we'll win election 2024. So that's what we are working towards.
Anyway, it's early days yet. We'll definitely be in touch as the process unfolds, but I'm grateful for your time. That's Evans Nimako, Director of Elections for the New Patriotic Party. Well, time now for us to settle in for this. The Ghana Association of Persons with Albinism is calling on government to allocate adequate resources for the effective implementation of the inclusive education policy to ensure all children have access to education in spite of their disabilities. Now, the association also wants government to include albinism healthcare products such as sunscreens on the National Health Insurance Scheme for persons who suffer from the condition. These are the concerns detailed in a statement actually released earlier today by the association as the world marks the International Albinism Awareness Day. Well, here's a breakdown for you. You have it on your screens right now. First of all, they are calling for the adequate allocation of resources for effective implementation of the inclusive education policy to ensure that all children in Ghana have equal access to quality education, irrespective of their disabilities. Then there's the point 2 about the consideration of including albinism healthcare products and treatments such as sunscreen, and then the glasses as well as skin cancer treatment and medication as part of the National Health Insurance coverage for persons with albinism. There's a third point about making clear social protection provisions for persons with albinism as well as support for persons with a condition to intensify public awareness and education on albinism. And there's also the call and the charge on government as well to ratify the Africa Disability Protocol and fast-track the amendment of the Disability Act 715, which is in sync with the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability to better protect and promote rights of persons suffering all of these conditions. So here are excerpts of the statement released by the group. But let's broaden the conversation now. Let's hear from the Executive Director for the Ghana Association of Persons with Albinism, Newton Kwamla Kacheku. Thank you for your time. Well, a lot of people are not even aware of your condition as to whether or not to describe it as a disability or otherwise. I'm sure you've heard so many forms and varied forms of descriptions against persons with albinism. But what really do we need to know about this condition?
Thank you very much for having me online. And let me say good evening to all, especially all persons with albinism. Yes, people may not know the condition, they don't know how to describe the condition. But the issue has to do with that. Yes, albinism can be viewed as either a medical or disability concept, depending on which country it's processing it. In American perspective, it's medically, it's most at times described as a medical condition. But when we come to the social protection area, yes, it's a disability. Why is it a disability? Because it is lack of a functioning part of your body. So because of the lack of melanin, the condition will not allow you to perform fully or functionally as other persons without the conditions behave. So yes, when it comes to the social protection area, it is disability. When we put the medical area, it's purely a medical condition.
Well, as we celebrate the Awareness Day, you've listed 4 items, including the issue about the National Health Insurance Scheme and the need for some provisions to be made. How crucial is that to saving persons who are suffering the condition?
Thank you. We are not suffering from a condition, but we live with the condition. So it is crucial because person with albinism needed a better health care system because it lacks melanin when that's protecting the direct sun ray entering the body. So if a person with albinism is not given a very proper medical condition because of the lack of melanin, it affects the body and causes body cancer. This body cancer could be prevented if it being detected early on. Based on that, we are advocating that sun care products be made available and cheaper for persons with albinism. And that if you can only make it cheaper and available when you're enlisted into the drug list of the National Health Insurance, where any person with albinism can walk into any of the facilities and then pick up any of these items for themselves. Treatment of cancer is becoming a very expensive part of our medical bill, where a person with a condition needs to go through rigorous processes to have himself cured out of the cancer and spend a hoping amount of money to get this done. So we are asking government to at least mitigate this and by taking care of it through the National Health Insurance scheme.
Don't you feel that would open the floodgates for persons to abuse the creams as well? Obviously, if we have adequate data on your membership, perhaps government could do a targeted approach in dealing with such a concern. What do you think about that?
So if you have an antiretroviral drug free for HIV patients, if we have malaria drug being given out, if we also have other drugs that are being given out, the polio drug vaccines that are being given out freely, how big deal is it for a drug, sun care product for persons with albinism who are woefully below the average number of about 5,000 Ghanaian population? So it is it could be possible. We are not demanding much. It will also open any floodgate. It's possible that government can't listen to pay attention to our call.
Right. And then the question about the Disability Act itself. What changes are you on the lookout for?
Yes, Disability Act must be in tandem with the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability. And if you look at that, the Ghanaian Disability Act, which has been promulgated before the UN Convention of the UNCRPD, there are vast gaps and differences. So even look at the definition of the disability in that Disability Act does not include persons with disability or they don't include all disability categories that have been identified in Ghana or in the world. So we're calling for the ratification and full implementation. When you ratify it, when you review it, it gives room for other conditions that year in for persons with disability and persons with albinism to enjoy. Look at African Disability Protocol, which is also an African charter of the protocol, that a policy which has been signed onto by our government, but its ratification is taking a lengthy time. That is the only law in Africa or a protocol in Africa which talk about albinism, which identify albinism as a disability. So we advocate that if it's being rectified and implemented, our issues will be a little bit resolved.
How much time do you have in terms of government addressing the concerns that you're raising?
Yes, we have within this year for that, because every year we come out with our concerns and persistent advocacy on issues that are affecting persons with albinism. Our persons with disability must be addressed. So yes, we have within this year for the government to at least pay heed to us to this.
Okay, Newton, we'll definitely get back to you. I'm sure probably, if not by the end of the year, somewhere getting closer, we'll definitely find out what the updates are. But I'm grateful for your time here on the Pulse. Well, engineers at the Ghana Highways Authority have assured that maintenance works on some bridges on the Accra-Tema Motorway will be completed in a week's time. The rehabilitation of these bridges has become necessary for failing structural integrity tests, exposing commuters to danger. The situation has actually caused a heavy build-up of traffic on the Tema motorway since Monday dawn. Samuel Mbura was there and now reports.
Because of the road that they are doing over there, that is also causing traffic. So both sides, there's huge traffic on both sides.
1 hour now, still I'm not able to get a car to Tema because of the traffic. And I make call at Ashaiman, they said the diversion on the motorway is causing the whole mix.
So we are at the diversion point where the entire congestion or the traffic on this Accra-Tema highway is starting from. This is the abattoir. As you can see, the incoming vehicles are being directed by the MTTD of the Ghana Police Service, and they are ensuring that the commuters on the road are safe. Driving from Accra to Tema here, it took us about 2 hours in traffic because of the situation we have at hand. We'll be taking you to one of the bridges that the contractors are currently working on. But let me talk to the Director of Operations at the headquarters. He's the person of ACP O2. I think it's a hectic activity for you here. Since when did you start these operations?
Sure, it's been very hectic. We started these operations as early as 5 a.m. We deploy our men here for traffic control purposes. And as you see, the contractors are on the work. And since we started the work, the traffic has been so tensed. We'll be able to manage it and pull in from Accra direction towards Tema, and also from Tema towards Accra. It's been quite hectic, but we are managing because we are going to do this 24/7. It's going to take the whole of 24 hours. We'll be here managing the traffic. We also put in place other security measures. You will find our motorbikes and vehicles along the stretch providing security. So motorists will not be disturbed by any criminal activity. We have put in place all necessary measures to ensure that their safety is actually catered for. For the safety of the motorists is paramount to us. And for now, we'll continue to be here throughout the period till the exercise is over.
So what you are saying is that you are stationing your men 24/7 until the work is done?
Yes, we are surely going to be here 24/7. There wouldn't be any break to make sure first we manage the traffic so there's free flow of traffic, and also to ensure there's adequate security around so criminals cannot have any problems with disturb the motorway.
So these are some of the machines that they are using to scarify the road. So this one, what's the name of this machine, sir?
It's hammer.
It's a hammer.
Jack hammer, yeah.
Jack hammer. So is it that heavy? Can I lift it?
Unless you respect the machine before you can lift it. If you can lift it.
Well, there's a need for us to cross you over now to Kumasi, where the Inspector General of Police, as we understand, will be speaking shortly. He's been on a fact-finding mission, actually trying to gather first-hand information on the shooting incident, not necessarily a shooting incident, but the clashes that we're learning of the Islamic Senior High School. They're having a shot there. Dr. Akufo Dampari, we can now listening to what exactly he's saying.
For protecting the life of each and every student and staff of this great school, in spite of the incident that happened today. It is heartwarming that we've come to see the extent of the incident, and each and every one of you are doing well. And all those who, for one reason or the other, mostly according to the doctors, as a result of shock and related matters, who were rushed to the various hospitals that we've gone to see that are doing so well, it just gladdens our hearts, because each and every one of you has been brought to this world to accomplish a particular purpose for which no other person can do it. Therefore, we have a responsibility to ensure that all of you are safe and live to your full potential, so as for you to be able to distinguish yourself and deliver your God-given destiny, which will impart life for this generation and generation unborn. Therefore, anything that will take you out of this world before accomplishment of your destiny is something which will be ungodly, that will do whatever it takes to ensure that it doesn't happen.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Father One.
That is why, as a parent who consider all of you as either a son or a daughter, as soon as the incident happened, we have to stop everything that we're doing in Accra just to come and make sure that we behave as parents.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Because we have daughters like you, we have sons like you, and in the traditional Ghanaian and by extension the African context, every child belongs to the elders of the farm or the village, of the town and the community. And in fact, every child is a daughter or is a son of any elder in the community. That is how we have been brought up, and that is our culture, and it is in that spirit that we have to run and come to you, because we see you as our children, and therefore everything affecting you is touching us directly as if you are our true biological children. Now, having come to see what we have seen and feel what we have felt and touch what we have touched, our hearts are at peace, and therefore we can go back to Accra with a spirit and with a mind that all of you are safe. And with this, the incident also that happened, as your headmaster have said, as soon as I touched base and went round and saw the dangers that you were exposed, I made a couple of calls, and the Urban Roads and its leadership have accepted to quickly come around and ensure that the right thing is done to save your lives, to live your full potential.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
We are going to monitor. We are going to monitor to see to its full accomplishment, so that each life will be protected. But as a father, together with my colleagues and your leadership, let me give you a piece of advice. Anytime you are confronted with challenges, you have the leadership at the student level, and you have the leadership at academic level, you have the leadership at the residency level, and you have the leadership at the very top of the school level. Don't bypass them to take the laws into your own hands to create a situation so that at the end of the day, we will be very circumspect in the things that happens, so that we don't end up losing any life, we don't end up creating any confusion that will take us away from our journey to become great, because we are looking to opportunity and we are looking forward to seeing each one of you growing up to become the doctors that you want to be, the nurses that you want to be, the teachers that you want to be, the judges that you want to be, the accountants that you want to be, the lawyers that you want to be, so that when we leave the space, you can take over and do more greater things than what we are doing today. And in fact, we want to see each one of you becoming greater than ourselves. So that is our prayer for you. So in conclusion, I also want to assure you that whatever happened in terms of the policing aspect of it, we are going to look into it and take all actions that need to be taken to ensure that at the end of the day, ensure that at the end of the day, the right thing is done, professionalism is deepened in a manner that will not create a situation that will put the life of anybody at risk. Because as police, we are here to protect life and property, and if we cannot do that, then we might have failed in our duties, in our mandate, and it is something that we don't want to do. So rest assured, we are with you, you are our children, and we'll see to it that you are comforted. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, IGP. Father, we are most grateful.
Well, live pictures there from Kumasi where the IGP just addressed the students of the Islamic SHS who are on protest. We saw a number of assurances there from the IGP. We'll keep monitoring the developments and bring you some updates. But now, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says government is only spending a little of its annual expenditure to build what he calls a righteous state, whilst attaining a key nation transformation components, spirituality. Of course, government has in the last week been criticized following revelations that nearly 200 million cedis of taxpayers' money has so far been spent on the National Cathedral project. The minister has been rejecting claims that the expenditure is not budgeted for. Meanwhile, Northong MP Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, who has been at the forefront of the public criticism on Facebook, is describing the finance minister's response as unmitigated disaster. Well, he's been speaking to MFR Power on the probe.
I have even heard some people try to compare what is going on now with the National Mosque. Let's be clear, for the National Mosque, it was not a government of Ghana project. Even the Turkish support was not Turkish government. It was a foundation in Turkey, a family that really, very endowed. They build mosques across the globe. So let's not, mix the issues. So people are even going beyond what we in the NDC caucus and parliament are doing, and even raising fundamental questions. We have not gone that far. We are saying that for now, we are more concerned about our mandate. Can you imagine if one day it is probably some investigative journalists or some CSOs who find out that, look, all of these atrocities have taken place and Parliament just sat aloof. We did not assert our authority. The whole principle of checks and balances, accountability, and to ensure that the Constitution is respected. You checked your responsibility. How will we look?
Okay.
And what would the Ghanaian people say? So people should not, this is not...
So it's not a case that you are just picking and choosing.
Yes.
You are not picking and choosing which issues to hold government accountable
Exactly. We're demanding accountability across board, and we are saying the Constitution should be respected.
Lawmakers in the United Kingdom and the invitation of their counterparts, British counterparts, for discussions on the controversial Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill, which is targeted at prescribing advocacy for same-sex rights. Now, the proposed law, which is initiated by some members of Parliament, is currently at the committee stage where a memoranda is being received on the controversial matter. But we understand that engagements will be happening in the United Kingdom on related matters. Joining us now is a member of the Legal Affairs and Parliamentary Affairs Committee of Parliament, Roxanne Nelson Dapiamakwa, who's also very much interested in matters unfolding on this as he expects some outcomes from that engagement with the UK Parliament. We understand that the leadership of the Constitutional Affairs Committee are already in UK. But let's speak to Roxanne Nelson Dapiamakwa on what he expects. Thank you, sir, for your time. So here we are. We understand that your leadership, together with the ranking, they're engaging the UK Parliament on a number of concerns that have come up. Per the invitation, I'm sure that by now, as members of the committee, you are well aware of what it is that your chairperson is seeking to do in the United Kingdom. Are you?
First of all, let me say good evening to your listeners. As members of the committee, we were not aware. We only got to know of this invitation when the chairman spoke about it on TV3 morning show on Saturday. And so it generated some debate on our platform in Parliament. Then he took the opportunity to announce. So clearly, the invitation was not even by the House of Commons of the British Parliament. The invitation is by the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. And it is an annual event that Parliament of Ghana often participates in. And normally the invitation comes to the members of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. So even the information surrounding the trip, he got it confused.
That some of these issues will be on the table when the engagements happen.
Yes, we appreciate the fact that the meeting of the Association of the Commonwealth Parliamentarians may want to table as part of the agenda discussions on our bill, which is fine, and we expect them to vehemently defend our position in the matter as sponsors of the bill, first of all, as Parliament, and also as a country. And so we expect nothing than that.
But then, obviously, we know the position of those of you who are sponsoring this about the procedure and the processes. Do you feel that he's sufficiently equipped with the points and beliefs that you have in advocating that to the rest of the world and telling them why possibly we may have this piece of legislation passed?
That is why it's shocking that such an invitation, which essentially will deal with the term of this bill before the committee, he failed to include even one member of the sponsors of the bill. You understand? But that is not the issue. What we are saying is that they are ambassadors of this country at that conference. They are supposed to carry the views, the general views of the people of this nation when they attend that conference. They ought not to be saying any other thing apart from advocating for the passage of the bill before them.
Some say that what you're doing now, or perhaps what's happening in the United Kingdom, for instance, is beginning to buttress the point that even some of your members of parliament raised international replication for Ghana's image as a beacon of democracy and some other issues relating to human rights. It's come up many times. Perhaps this may be another opportunity where, of course, our democratic credentials may be questioned.
No. Why would our democratic credentials be questioned? Because we have the right to pass the law that suits our cultural norms and values. We are not the only country to have passed a similar law. Several countries in East Africa, including Uganda, have passed similar law. Uganda is also a member of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. So this is a zero-sum argument. The point we want to make is that we want to assert ourselves as a people as part of the Committee of Nations. If members of the British Commonwealth Association of Parliamentarians feel strongly, they can visit here. Just last week, members of the Canadian Parliament, both the House of Commons and the Senate, they visited Parliament. They met with our committee. We discussed terms of the bill, and they appreciated the cultural values perspective from which we are approaching this matter. So we expect other countries to do similarly. Just when they left, Zambia came. Zambia visited us. In fact, Zambia actually came with their speaker. And the delegation also met with our committee. So countries are coming. If any country feels strongly to meet with us, we are available to discuss this matter.
Well, apologies there for the technical hitches, but now the National Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Kotia, says his outfit and La Côte d'Ivoire Boundary Commission have agreed on a framework for the implementation of the ITLOS ruling. The International Tribunal of the Law of the Sea, Germany, in 2017 ruled in favor of Ghana in the three-year-long maritime disagreement between Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire in the Atlantic Ocean. While speaking at a ceremony to commemorate the African Border Day at La Côte d'Ivoire, in La Côte d'Ivoire, he said the two countries have also agreed to establish joint land and maritime boundary commissions and committees for a smooth redemarcation of disputed boundaries.
The boundary commissions of Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire jointly held activities from the 7th to the 10th of June to commemorate African Border Day on the theme Challenges of Cross-Border Cooperation and Management of Shared Resources. The joint celebration is part of efforts to strengthen the relationship between the boundary commissions of the two countries. The day was also used to observe the Green Ghana Day. Officials of the Côte d'Ivoire Boundary Commission, traditional leaders of Elubo, government officials and more joined the Ghana Boundary Commission to plant trees along the Tano River, which serves as a boundary line between the two countries. It is to protect the environment and restore the forest cover of Elubo and Noé. After the tree planting exercise, officials of the Ghana Boundary Commission, the traditional authorities and others moved to Côte d'Ivoire for the official ceremony and sensitization program. Present at the event were school children, Ivorian residents, members of the clergy, traditional authorities and more. Speaking at the program, National Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Yimano Kotia, said, amongst others, the boundary commissions of Ghana and Ivory Coast have agreed on a framework for the implementation of the ICLOS ruling.
Since March this year, Ghana and the Côte d'Ivoire Boundary Commission held a series of meetings, and the maiden meeting was at the beginning of March. And both commissions have agreed to establish joint land boundary committee for harmonization and peaceful redemarcation of land boundaries, establishment of a joint maritime committee for the implementation of any decision on maritime boundary agreement between the two countries. And then we've also agreed to come out with a framework for the implementation of the ICLOS ruling and other initiatives so far as this arrangement is concerned. And let me mention that we are scheduled to have a joint meeting with the National Boundary Commission of La Côte d'Ivoire in July to deliberate and set up these committees physically at that meeting. There are a number of joint efforts or activities that we envisage that are going to take place within the year, especially during the second half of the year with the National Boundary Commission of Côte d'Ivoire. We're going to have joint efforts for the reaffirmation of some land boundary areas, especially Dollar Power. We are going to have joint efforts along the Bia River in the middle to the northern part of Ghana, on the western part of our country and the border with La Côte d'Ivoire. And more especially, the year may end with a very important conference that we are going to hold on the tri-border issues or demarcation between Ghana, Burkina Faso, and La Côte d'Ivoire to be held in Jirapa in the Upper West region. And this meeting is very significant for us to be able to resolve any issues surrounding the tri-border area between Ghana, Burkina Faso, and La Côte d'Ivoire.
The Prime Minister of Côte d'Ivoire was represented by a special advisor. Speaking through a translator, he called on residents to do more to protect the boundary lines of the two countries.
The importance of today's collaboration in today's celebration is to highlight the activities and resources that we have together. We need to put our efforts together to deal with activities, especially illegal mining activities that destroy our water bodies. I know you are all aware that we share a lot of common resources.
This is the entry point into Côte d'Ivoire. The River Tano serves as a boundary line between Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire at this section of the border. Speaking at the event to commemorate African Border Day, Western Regional Minister Kwabena Ochidakun urged citizens of Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana to collaborate. He also urged security agencies to share intelligence and information that will help stamp out terrorism from West African coastal states.
Ladies and gentlemen, our mutual existence along the international boundary is threatened by the menace of terrorism. I want to use this occasion to urge all stakeholders and citizens of both countries to collaborate and pass adequate information of any terrorist threats to the security forces. In Ghana now, we say, see something, say something. Do collaborate and pass on relevant information for our mutual benefits.
Well, the Western Regional Minister, Kwabena Otre Dakon, has also been appealing to authorities of Côte d'Ivoire to reopen their part of the border. He says this would contribute to the economic growth and sustainability that the two West African countries are all pursuing.
My name is Dorcas Hammond, the Skills Development Advisor for Western Region on the Green Project. So we are supporting this agenda. We brought about 50 of our service recipients, and we are collaborating with the Forestry Commission and then the Jomoro Municipal Assembly. And 50 of our service recipients will be planting about 1,000 seedlings.
Well, and that's all we have for you in this package of the polls. I am Blessed Sogah. Don't forget to log on to myjoyonline.com. We have updates for you there. Stay with us. Let's Talk Showbiz is coming up in a bit.